ونسلم على رسوله الكريم ما بعد, and we're looking at Al-Imam fi ma'rifati ahadith al-ahkam, all the ahadith related to legal rulings. This is by the polymath Hafiz ibn Daqiq al-Eid. In a sense, he's a mujtahid, no doubt. In this monumental book, the author attempts to gather all the hadith related to legal rulings and orders them into chapters of fiqh. He then references each hadith, discussing all its different chains of narration, its authenticity and its narrators. Although the author completed a draft form, musawwada, of it, and that draft form, by the way, whenever you see the word musawwada, it means like a draft form. Like, for example, the file, this book, before it became like a published book, the form that it was in would probably be called like a musawwada. Or like, when you're writing and then your final draft, you'll rewrite everything and you kind of make it look beautiful. So he left it as a musawwada. He passed away before managing to complete the edited form, and we call that mubayyadah of the book. The amount that he edited has reached us and has been printed. And this has been printed by Sheikh Sa'ad al-Humayyid, again fantastic, the author of the muhaqqiq of al-Ilal of Ibn Abi Hatim. So this is Al-Imam fi ma'rifati ahadith al-ahkam, printed in 4 volumes, like you see, with the tahqiq of Sheikh Sa'ad ibn Abdullah al-Humayyid. Absolutely fantastic kitab, absolutely phenomenal. I can't explain to you how amazing this kitab is. In a sense, it's very hard read, don't get me wrong, but the way he, the way he speaks and his gathering of turuq of hadith and his kalam al hadith, etc., it just shows like it's like as though he's like got a bird's eye view of everything that's happened. The amount that has reached us shows the tremendous abilities in the author's tremendous abilities in the field of hadith. Ibn al-Mulaqqin rahimahullah states, وَأَمَّا كِتَابُهُ الْإِمَامِ فَهُوَ لِلْمُسْلِمِينَ إِمَامٌ وَلِهَذَا الْفَنِّ زِمَامٌ لَا نَظِيرَ لَهُ وَلَوْ بُيِّضَ هَذَا الْكِتَابُ وَخَرَجَ إِلَى النَّاسِ لَاسْتَغْنَى بِهِ عَنْ كُلِّ كِتَابٍ صُنِّفَ فِي نَوْعِهِ. As for his book Al-Imam, then it is for the Muslims an imam, and for this field of hadith related to legal rulings, it reigns. There is no comparison to it. If it were to have been made into an edited form and come out to the people, it would have sufficed from every other book in its field. There are a plethora of unique features within this book, but however, perhaps the most unique feature is the lack of partisanship that the author has and the fairness with which he writes. And probably Zayla'i, as we know, really benefits from this book, right? Remember, this is one of the books that Zayla'i depended upon in his Nasb al-Raya. So Zayla'i probably learned a little bit of that from, because you are the books that you read. You are the books that you read. You know how they say that you are the friends that you are your friends. You are also the books that you read. There is no surprise, considering that the author is someone who said, ما تكلمت بكلمة ولا فعلت فعلا إلا أعددت لذلك جوابا بين يدي الله تعالى. I have not spoken a word or performed an action except I have prepared for it an answer in front of Allah the Almighty. This was Ibn Daqiq al-Eid. So this was Al-Imam, which is a hadith related to legal rulings, and then like different explanations of them, in the sense of not fiqhi explanations as much as hadithi discussions is what you'll find in Al-Imam fi ma'rifati ahadith al-ahkam. Loads of hadith discussions, by the way, and this is what adds qima, you could say, to Nasb al-Raya of Al-Zayla'i. Then he wrote a book, a smaller book, called Al-Ilmam bi Ahadith al-Ahkam. Al-Ilmam bi Ahadith al-Ahkam. What did he do in this book? The author has chosen 1,471 authentic ahadith related to legal rulings from his book Al-Imam. So he got Al-Imam, the big one, 4-volume one, and he just took out only the authentic legal rulings, and 1,471 of them. The book is ordered according to chapters of fiqh. He wrote the book for the purpose of memorization, and the author's contemporary Hafiz ibn Taymiyyah would refer to this book as Huwa Kitabul Islam. It is the book of Islam, right? And it's absolutely incredible, again, this book, but it's just one small volume, just to show you Al-Imam fi ma'rifati hadith al-ahkam. It's just loading there. So now we've got, you could say, a hadith-based expansion upon legal rulings in his big book, 4-volume book called Al-Imam. Al-Imam, remember the names. Al-Imam. Then he kind of gets only the authentic ahadith from this book, and he compiles them in a separate 1-volume book called Al-Ilmam. Al-Ilmam. Is that okay? Now he writes a commentary upon Al-Ilmam from more like a fiqhi perspective now. And this is called Sharhul Ilmam, which is what we're going to look at just now. So if I can just show you Al-Imam. So this is Al-Imam. Let's just have a look at a few sample pages so we get to learn how this book works. So remember, it's all legal, all ahadith related to legal rulings, right? So here you got فصل في أواني الكفار. روى البخاري من حديث أبي إدريس الخولاني قال حدثني أبو ثعلبة الخشني قال أتيت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقلت يا رسول الله إلى آخره narrates the full hadith. Then he does full تخريج. ورواه خالد الحذاء عن أبي قلابة عن أبي أسماء عن أبي ثعلبة قال ابن منده أخرجه مسلم وهو صحيح على رسم الجماعة وهذا إسناد صحيح. ورواه شعبة عن أيوب وغير واحد عن حماد عن أيوب عن أبي قلابة عن أبي ثعلبة لم يذكروا أبا أسماء في الإسناد. وسئل الدارقطني عن حديث. So you can see he's now going into the العلل of الدارقطني now. وروى البزار. It's just a hadith discussion, guys. There's no very little fiqhi. There are certain places where he touches upon certain fiqhi issues, but mostly hadith discussions in Al-Imam. And again, for those who are experts in hadith, this book is absolutely incredible. But those who are more into fiqh, and you can be a bit into both really, he wrote Al-Ilmam, and then he wrote a commentary upon it called Sharh Al-Ilmam, and we've got a picture of it here as well in the actual. So this is Sharh Al-Ilmam. This is an incredible book. Hafidh ibn Daqiq al-Eid began a commentary upon this book titled Sharh Al-Ilmam. This book contains fiqh discussions on the hadith in Al-Ilmam. So you got Al-Ilmam, here. If you want the hadithi discussions on Al-Ilmam, you look in Al-Imam. And if you want the fiqhi discussions, you look in Sharh Al-Ilmam. This is considered one of the greatest books written in the history of Islam, even though he did not manage to complete the book. It's absolutely incredible. It shows you, I remember our teacher would tell us to just read this book to learn just how deep ijtihad is. Like today, everyone will say, I'm a mujtahid, or will behave, the lisanul hal speaks higher than the lisanul qawl. Even though they say, no, I'm not a mujtahid, I don't consider myself, but you behave in every other respect as a mujtahid. But what they haven't really understood is, or what they have understood, but what they seem to probably need a bit more appreciation of is that at least they need to admit that this is real ijtihad. Ibn Daqiq al-Eid's Sharh al-Ilmam is where you see real ijtihad. You see you see the ceiling, so to speak. The book shows the many different dimensions. So sometimes, students ask many times, myself as well, wouldn't you say that this person has now I would say if he's anything below 40, he can't be a mujtahid. Like, he can't be anywhere near a mujtahid in all honesty. But if he's reached a stage of 50, 60 now, he's been in the field for so long, I would say if he has some of his own personal opinions, that's his prerogative. I mean, you could say, sharah Allahu sadrah, so to speak. Allah has opened his heart to that. Whether he's right or wrong doesn't matter. That is, The book shows the many different dimensions with which a hadith may be understood and fully demonstrates the author's abilities in extracting rulings from a hadith. Hafidh ibn Hajar rahimahullah describes it as أتى فيهما بالعجائب الدالة على سعة دائرته خصوصا في الاستنباط. He presents within them, the two volumes, interesting discussions that indicate upon the vastness of his understanding, specifically in extracting rulings. Sorry, I realized this line here was supposed to stretch out a little bit there. The indents not done its job properly. Other places it has, here it hasn't. Just checking where else it's done that. That needs to be improved. In any case, back to where we were. So, Sharh al-Ilmam. If you want to really see an example of this, by the way, for each hadith, by the way, he discusses the narrators of the hadith, their names, lineages, the fiqh aspects of each hadith, linguistic aspects of each hadith, aqidah aspects of each hadith, usul al-fiqh aspects of each hadith, mustalah al-hadith aspects of each hadith, and many more aspects. To understand the deep intricacies that the author is able to comprehend from a hadith, right? Just try to understand it. It is sufficient to know that when commenting upon the hadith of Al-Bara ibn Azib radiyallahu anhu, that أمرنا رسول الله بسبع ونهانا عن سبع, in which the Prophet prohibits certain items and permits certain items, he extracts 402 points from the book. Accordingly, in the printed version of the book, the commentary of this hadith covers 352 pages of the second volume. The book has been printed in 5 volumes, despite it only covering a hadith until the chapter of wudu. You only got until the chapter of wudu, and it's 5 volumes, right? And these are thick volumes, by the way. They're easy, about, I think, over 400, 500 pages. The next book now you've got is Ihkamul Ahkam, Sharh Umdatul Ahkam, which inshallah ta'ala we will have a look at in the next session. So now Ibn Daqiq al-Eid has got about 4 books that sound very similar. You've got Al-Imam, Al-Ilmam, you've got Sharh Al-Ilmam, and you've got Ihkamul Ahkam. Ihkamul Ahkam is nothing to do with this trilogy here that you had. It's completely different. Not trilogy, but the three that fell in one family, so to speak. Al-Imam, Al-Ilmam, and Sharh Al-Ilmam. This is a shara, a commentary upon Abdul Ghani Al-Maqdisi's Umdatul Ahkam. But we'll have a look at it inshallah in the next session.